Okay, Tuesday night, September 24th, 2019. We're a few days before Rosh Hashanah, and obviously the entire set of prayers for Rosh Hashanah is extremely important. But it's when we get to Musaf is that I find, at least, that it's really the height, it's the climax, the pinnacle of the prayers, because we're using the shofar as a meaning to the prayer, and the prayers represent the shofar as well. So we have to understand what's going on, because obviously it's not about just making some noises with a shofar and it has no meaning to it. It has to have meaning, and we have to understand what the Hachamim did when they established the prayers the way they are. So we know that we have what they call in the Musaf, we have Malkhouyot, Zikhronot, and Shofarot. Okay, Malkhouyot, kingdom; Zikhronot, remembrance; Shofarot, shofar. Now, what makes the Musaf Amidah of Rosh Hashanah different than any other Musaf is that every other holiday Musaf that we have is like a Shabbat Musaf, where we have a total of 7 berachot. The 3 in the beginning, the 3 in the end that we have throughout the year, and 1 in the middle. But on Rosh Hashanah Musaf, and only Rosh Hashanah Musaf, we have a 9 berachot Amidah. Does not exist any other time of the year. So we have 1 beracha for each of these strings, for the Malkhouyot, for the Zikhronot, and the Shofarot. Now, what are these coming to represent, and what are they talking about? So first I want to try to give a brief overview, and then I want to actually look at, how the sections are structured and what the Pisukim mean. I don't think we're going to have time to finish the entire thing, but I want to at least go through Malkhouyot first, and then maybe we'll look at portions of Zikhronot and Shofarot. So first thing, as we said, the Malkhouyot, to proclaim that God is the king over the entire universe. The next section is the Zikhronot. We're asking Borei Olam to remember. To remember what? To remember our ancestors, Abraham, Ishaq, and Yaakov, and everything he did for us. But not only them, to remember Noah, and the compassion that he had on Noah at the time of the Mabul, that he didn't come and destroy the earth entirely. He had Rahmanut, even though he saw that nothing was perfect, he found a way to save mankind, to save animals, to do something so the world can continue, and we would like him to do something for us, even though we may not be deserving, so we can as well to continue and move forward in a positive way. And then you have the Shofarot. The Shofarot is to recall the acceptance of the Torah, and as well as to look forward to the Geulah, both of which have the issue of shofar mentioned. Now, each one of these sections have 10 Pisukim. Okay, sometimes you have parts that look like it may be more than 10, but it's only because those Pisukim are connected, so those Pisukim that are connected are looked at as one unit. The way that these 10 Pisukim are set up, that we have 3 Pisukim from the Torah that open up, and then we have 3 Pisukim from Tehillim, and then we have 3 Pisukim from the Nebi'im. Okay, so we're not moving in usual progression that we would think Torah, Nebi'im, Ketubim. We're going Torah, Tehillim, Nebi'im, and then 3, 3, 3, and then finally we close off with 1 Pasuk back from the Torah again. Okay, so we look at the Torah as our book ends. Okay, we're making that movement, and I'll explain to you the different movements from top down and from down up, how we could look at it. And we have to remember that we have 10 in each. Now, what else we have going on over here? What the Malkhouyot, the 10 in the Malkhouyot. Why 10 over here? Over there, the Hachamim tell us that they're corresponding to, if you look at the last Mizmor of Tehillim, okay, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Bekudsho, okay, that in there you have the word Hallel, okay, really as Hallelu or Halleluhu, we're talking about, mentioned 10 times. That goes hand in hand with the Malkhouyot. Also has to do with the 10 statements with which the world was created, as Pirkei Avot talks about. The Zikhronot refer to the 10 words of Vidui that Yeshaya HaNavi says. In the first Perek of Yeshaya, Yeshaya starts talking about 10 languages. Look at Pisukim 16 and 17 if you want to open up, open them on the phone or whatever it is. Michael, you want to check it out? Perek Rishon, Pisukim Tetzayin and Yudzayin. You'll see 10 Lashonot of Vidui. And then in the Shofarot, they're responding to the Korbanot. That we have 7 kibasim, 1 par, 1 ayil, 1 se'ir. So you have 7 lambs, 1 cow, 1 ram, and 1 goat. Okay? And of course, all these 10, 10, 10, and 10, each one, paralleling the Aser Yemei Teshuvah. So this number 10 is very, very important when it comes to Yamim Noraim. Again, all this is part of overview. Now, the Malkhouyot. If you look at the Malkhouyot, right now we start with Malkhouyot, starts with Al-Kin Kavelach, which we have part of our daily Aleinu Shabeach. Aleinu Shabeach has 2 paragraphs. The first one is Aleinu Shabeach, second one starts Al-Kin Kavelach. These prayers originally appear in the Musaf of Rosh Hashanah, and later on they were instituted as part of our daily and Shabbat prayers throughout the year. But originally it was exclusive to Musaf of Rosh Hashanah. The Al-Kin Kavelach section starts the Malkhouyot. So if we go to the end of Malkhouyot, you'll see it. If we turn the page, if you look at page 248, okay. No, look at page 248. Right, we have those 3 pisukim from the Nebi'im, and then that paragraph ends. Uptorat Echa, right, goes back to the Torah. Uptorat Echa, Adonai Elohu Katuv Lemor, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. The way we end our Aleinu and Al-Kin Kavelach today. Again, this is all coming back to the Musaf of Rosh Hashanah. Aleinu is important, yeah. It's definitely important. Yeah. It's not meant as some people like to look at it as Tifilat HaDerech, okay? Walking out with that. Okay, so ends with Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Why was Shema Yisrael? What's the connection of Shema and the Malkhouyot? Because the entire essence of Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, once we know that God is our God, He's not just our God, He's God of the universe. To be God of the universe, that means He must be king, He must be the ruler. So that's the Malkhouyot. The next section begins Zikhronot. It starts on the bottom where Atezoche starts on 249, and that continues a little further until the bottom of 253. If you look at 253, about 5, is a beracha, but if you look about 5 lines up, it says Ka'amur, V'zacharti lahem berit rishonim. That pasuk from Vayikra, and this is V'zacharti lahem berit rishonim. Again, yes, I'm remembering the berit that I made with the rishonim. What's the berit? First berit ben betarim that he had with Abraham Abinu. So this is the Zechira, the remembrance, the essence of the Zechira. What everything comes back to is we're asking Hashem to remember Abraham, remember Yitzhak, remember Yaakov, remember the covenants that you've made with them, and don't forsake us even though we haven't lived up to our end of the promise. Think about them and do it for them, and we're going to keep trying to live up to our end. Finally, the Shofarot. Shofarot start on 254, and they go. We have the last pasuk on 256. In that last paragraph, 5th line in, is Ubiyom Simchatchem. All right, that's the pasuk. Right, that we say it throughout the holiday, but that's the Torah again. That's the Torah again, right, from Bimidbar. Okay, so Parashat Naso, right, the end of Naso. Yeah. יום שמחתכם מועדיכם ראשי חודשיכם וקעתם בחסוסרות עבודתכם על שפחי שלמיכם ויהיו לכם זיכרונות לפי ה' אלוהיכם. What do you have going on over here? Look at the pasuk. וביום שמחתכם מועדיכם ראשי חודשיכם ותקעתם. First thing, ותקעתם בחסוסרות. עבודתכם ועל שפחי שלמיכם. Right? And then והיו לכם לזיכרון. There's the זיכרון again. Okay? לפי אלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Comes back together, back to the Malkhouyot. Connects. One pasuk connecting the 3 ideas, but working backwards. Instead of Malkhouyot, Zikhronot, Shofarot, now we start with Shofarot, Zikhronot, and Malkhouyot. And everything comes to the full culmination over here. So it's a lot for us to at least to think about when we're entering the Amidah. At least we have an overview now. We know where we are, where we're standing, what's expected to be going on in our minds, and what we're listening to with the shofar, how we have to focus ourselves. Now, one of the Rishonim, by the name of Rabbi Yosef Albo, who lived in Spain, and differently than Harambam, who came about 200 years later, who has 13 Ikarim. Rabbi Yosef Albo has just 3 Ikarim, and the 3 Ikarim he refers to also correspond to the three sections over here of the Malkhouyot, Zikhronot, and Shofarot. His three Ikarim are, number one, existence of God. That's the Malkhouyot. The second one is divine providence. Divine providence has to do with God overruling over everything, and not just overruling, but actually being involved. Sechar va'onish. Sechar va'onish comes in because of Zikhronot, because he's remembering what we did, and because of what we did, he repays us in kind. And then finally, the last ikar that he has, the last tenet of faith that he has, is Torah min hashamayim. Torah min hashamayim, that's the shofarot, because when we got the Torah, the shofar was blowing, okay, and that wakes us up to do God's will. So just another thing to think about, that this whole concept, we have to reconnect ourselves with our faith, with the very basic, foundations and fundamentals of our faith in everything that Borei Olam wants from us. Okay, this is overview.
Are we supposed to think of that Matan Torah time, the Kol Shofar, Olek B'Chazek Me'od, Moshe Daber? That's the image we're supposed to have on the shofar, or is it the shofar, like the rallying of the people to? Well, again, you have different pisukim that will deal with different things. But here, since you're in the shofar section, okay, if you go to the shofar section, starts on page 254. Okay, so 4 lines from the bottom of 254, it starts Kakatu betorata. It's going to open with the first pasuk. Vahi bayom shelishi b'yot boker. Okay, so already we're talking about Matan Torah section over here, and then the pasuk right after, which is the last line of the page, it starts Vahi kol hashofar holech v'chazik me'od. Again, the same imagery of Matan Torah, and then you go to the next pasuk, okay, which is within Parashat Yitro. So yes, your imagery, the entire imagery over here, from the Torah at least, it's all Matan Torah. Because without Matan Torah, we're not praying, we're not doing anything. There's no shofar, there's no Borei Olam, there's no connection, there's no Zikhronot, there's no berit, nothing. So yes, you have to have that thought of Matan Torah over here. Absolutely. Okay? And if it's not clear enough, the paragraph opens up. He's telling you, it's opening up with that. You, Borei Olam, you revealed yourself, okay, in the Ananim, in the clouds, to your holy nation, to speak to them, and from the heavens, they heard your words. And he keeps going on and on. Okay, so definitely the entire imagery of Har Sinai and what was going on over there. The people gathered, the people waiting for Borei Olam speaking to them, then them trembling, getting the Torah, everything is there. Yeah, it's not just, okay, let's finish Musaf, let's go through it. So, it's already late, we want to get home. It's not what it's about, obviously. So this is basics. Now I want to look at a different idea before we get to the words, something that I found this morning I didn't have a chance to write up, from Rabbi Shelush. Hacham David Shelush, I've mentioned him in many of my classes before, was really one of the last great Hachamim. Part of that famous Purat Yosef class that we've all seen many pictures of, with Hacham Yosef and Hacham Baruch and Hacham Sion Levi and Hacham Hayyim David HaLevi and so many others. And he was, to the best of my knowledge, the last living member of that class. Okay, and he only passed away a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. So he has an idea over here in a speech that he gave on Rosh Hashanah in 1969. Okay, it was really 1968, starting the year of Tavshin Kaftet. And he says like this: מזוות היום של תקיעת השופר משולבת על ידי רבותינו אנשי כנסת גדולה בפסוקי מלכויות זיכרון שופרות. The concepts of this Musaf and the Tikiyat Shofar, the blowing shofar, comes all together with these 3 sections of Malkhouyot, Zikhronot, and Shofarot. And he tells you, of course, like we mentioned, the Malkhouyot, that Borei Olam is the everlasting king of the world. The Zikhronot, he remembers the past, and we said it the beginning of the Zikhronot sections, at Tazocher, Ma'aseh Olam, Fuked Kol Yisurei Kedem, you have established everything in the past, and you remember everything, etc. And the Shofarot, that awaken within us the
the aspirations for the future, for ourselves and for all of mankind. And at that day, the final day of redemption, then the great shofar will be blown. But he tells you not only that, okay, in all of these sections, it's not that we're just looking at one concept, but rather the past, the present, and the future have all been incorporated. A very interesting idea that he brings. And if you're looking at Malkhouyot, he tells you, you look at the Abar, right? He established. When? He established. Back in the days of Bereshit. He created the world. Okay? So he created Shamayim, created Aris, set up the earth for us the way we know it. In the Atid, we're looking forward to you. We're saying, the day is going to come that God is going to come and rule the world and rule us, rule the nations of the world. And God will be the king, all that. Okay, and we're telling him, and then finally we end, Melech, he's king, he's present. So we went past, future, present. Nice. Then it goes to the Zikhronot section. Okay? Again, Abar, Atazocher Ma'aseh Olam. You remember everything. You remember everything. Remember, Noah Behaba Zachar. You even remember Noah. Remember what you did back then with him, and we know you remember him. And our people, Bnei Yisrael, that were stuck in Egypt, that was crying and screaming, and the Pesuk says, you're always remembering. You remember, right? So that's the past. The Atid, okay, the future is going to come, and we're going to be in that point where we need to be redeemed. He's going to remember us. Okay, things are going to reach a point, I'm going to remember again. I'm going to remember that I have to bring you that anointed one, that promised one. The guy's going to come and be your salvation. Okay, he's coming. Then we finish the end. Right now, back to the future. Okay, so the Akedah comes together today. And he's remembering it now, back to the future. Beracha has to have that word Hayom. Very, very important. Okay? That's what, and Shofarot, okay? Abar, like we just read in the Mahzor on page, we said just Shofarot, we're remembering Har Sinai, right? And then in the future, that's future tense. That day is going to come and you're going to blow. In the end, Ki Shomei Kol Shofar Atta with Alif, not Atta with Ayin, not now. Uma'azin Tiru'ah. But you're listening now. You're listening to. We're listening. You're listening. We're all listening. Present. Yeah. Hayom, right. Okay, so everything comes together. It's a very nice concept that we wouldn't notice otherwise, you know?
Past, future, present.
Everything's there in each one of the berachot. Each one of the sections, we see in the Pisukim, we see in the beracha, and it all comes together. So already now, our entire mindset towards Musaf has changed a little bit. I hope so, at least.
Yeah.
So
okay?
The Torah, that's the past, and then the Nevi'im, that's the future.
That's good, that's well said.
The Nevi'im usually is the future, yes. Yes. The Torah is the past. Yeah, it does make sense because the Torah is what was. Okay, it's the establishment of us as a nation, of us as a people, as the law given to us. Okay, what's expected from us. The Nevi'im are the ones who are telling us what's going to occur, but we need to correct our ways to get that way, which also fits in with the concepts of Yom Hadin, Rosh Hashanah. Okay, Tehillim plays a different role, which we'll get to when we try to explain the Pesukim. Okay, now. Rabbi Shalush talks more about this, but this is the main part that I wanted to look at, past, present, and future of the Berachot. Okay. So now let's actually look at Pesukim. So we said the Malkhouyot section starts with Al-Ken Nekavelach. Okay? Now, we're not going to explain all that, but we're going to start looking at the Pesukim itself. So we said the first Pasuk of the Torah section, and if you notice the Pesukim also in
the sections go in chronological order of the way they appear in the Tanakh. So if you look at these three Pesukim, we look at page 247, the fourth line. The first Pasuk says, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed. Okay? So that's in Shemot Perek Tedvav.
Yep.
The next line, V'ne'emar V'lo Hibit Avim Be'Yaakov, is B'midbar, Tav Gimel. And then 3 lines later, Vahi B'Shron Melech, is Debarim, Lamed Gimel. So the Pesukim all go in order. They follow chronological order, not necessarily of, because we know the Mefarshim talk about that maybe, in Migdal Harba Torah, okay, we don't have, the Torah is not written in chronological order, but the way we know the Torah, the way we read it, the way we think about it, what pasuk appears first, second, third, etc., that's the way the Pesukim appear. Okay, so once again, it's a tool because we didn't have books.
Right.
There were no books. So the Hachamim had to remember things, the Hazanim had to remember things, the people had to remember things. So we have to put it in a method.
Format that they could get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
We don't think about it. We have, okay, come read and kish. No, we see how their minds there. No, the Hachamim were stupendous, really, because they kept everything in mind. They thought about what's needed for the people and how we're going to write. It's a prayer that you're saying once a year. Okay, 2 days, yes, but once a year. How we're remembering it from year to next year to the year after that. What's going on over here? So, okay, back to the Pesukim. So, the first Pasuk, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed. Okay, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed, we know it. We say it, Shirat Hayam, we say it every day. Okay. Ramban, okay, Moshe Bar Nachman, Pre-Rosh, he explained, Zohi tefillah shetpallelu Yisrael k'shehoshiyam miyad Mitzrayim v'ra'ut giburato. Okay, when Borei Olam saved us and we saw his strength, so for us, as a nation of slaves, who is he? It's the king. Who else is going to take over? We went from Paro, the king, to a different king. So we're opening up the section of Malkhouyot. He's the king. And how is the king? This is the first pasuk they're noticing him as the king, and the first time that we as a nation proclaimed him as a king. Right. So what better way to open up Malkhouyot? Because we have to proclaim him. Because some people want to tell you that if you look at the Pesukim, if we go back to, we looked at the pasuk of Yom Simchatchem, Mu'adechem, Rashi Hoshechem, Utka'atem, B'Hasosero, Adechem, ends Ani Adonai Elohechem. Says this is where we know from this pasuk that we have to have 3 sections, and we showed from that it's Shofarot, then Zikhronot, then Malkhouyot. So the Hachamim argued maybe Malkhouyot should be last. In the end, after the discussion back and forth, they said no, we can't. We have to start with Malkhouyot because we have to proclaim him. Because if we don't proclaim him as king, then what's the point? Right. How are we going to ask him to do anything for us if we're not recognizing who he is to us?
And the Torah, it came before the Matan Torah anyway, right? They proclaimed him as king first. Then
absolutely, exactly. But again, the Hachamim argued about this. They had to argue because the pasuk is not in that order. Right. If we're putting everything in a certain progression, right? So. And the whole concept of 3 concepts and the 3 berachot. Okay, is all based upon that. So, but then they decide you have to proclaim Borei Olam as king. After you proclaim it as king, then you can go to Zocher. So now you're the king. King, you remember this? You remember what happened? You remember what's going on and what you could still do for us and what you plan on doing for us? And then how you're going to bring us to the future and the Shofarot and then we're going to bring the final Geulah. So all this has to follow the progression. Okay, same thing if we look at the idea of Rabbi David Shelush with the Abar and the Atid and the Hoveh. Okay, so same thing. So yes, you're the king and you're remembering. Okay, but what are you remembering? You're remembering the Berit that you made with Abraham Abinu to take us out of a nation. But to make us your nation, you have to give us a Torah. Giving us a Torah again appears in the Shofarot section. So everything ties in with each other, back and forth. Okay. Next pasuk. Lo hibbit avin beYaakov. ולא ראה עמל בישראל אדוני אלוהיו עמו ותרועת מלך בו. So
This is from where? From Bil'am,
Bilam, yeah.
right?
Balak.
Bil'am, and we're saying this is
Supposed to curse him?
It wasn't, but he had no choice. He had no choice. Okay, this is the second time that Bil'am was coming to curse them. He ended up giving a beracha. Okay, and he said, what kind of people these are, in front of Borei Olam. Okay, no, really, even the Gemara were astounded by the whole concept over here that this pasuk should be possibly belong in the shofar section, because we end with utru'at melech bo. Okay, and they weren't sure, but then it said the teruah has to do with, but it said melech, and over here the teruah wouldn't have fit in without melech, so the melech was the main concept over here. Okay, but now teruah over here they say doesn't necessarily mean teruah blowing, but it's re'ut. It's re'ut. It's companionship. Okay, it's brotherliness. It's that to your fellow man. That's what teruah is over here. And again, you have to think about that concept over here. Okay, you can't proclaim God as king and hate the guy next to you. Okay, if you have a king, the king has to be over a nation. The nation has to be united. Otherwise, what do you have? You have anarchy. Okay, bring it together. Re'ut. Okay. Very important concept. We don't think about it. We're just flying it. And we're not thinking. We don't have time to think. That's why the Hachamim tell us you have to prepare for the holidays before the holidays. You have to go through the prayers. And we expect, the Hacham and the Hazan to go through it, but we have to go through it too. We have to know what we're saying. We can't do it all. Because look, how are you going to go through the whole book? You'll be studying it all year long. You're never going to finish. And by the time you get to the end, you forgot the beginning. But that's what we have, something like this, to try to get, tidbits that we'll remember. Okay. Next pasuk. Okay,
was this the next pasuk in chronological order of the Torah that would declare Hashem having that relationship as the king with?
That I don't know. I didn't look. It would be easy enough to open up on a concordancia and see, where the word melech appears in the Torah and see how it would connect in that sense. I don't know. And if you look at some of the sources in the Gemara, because Masechet Rosh Hashanah deals with a lot of this, and then the different commentators on it, some of them say we chose to use different pisukim, and it seems that in much earlier times different pisukim were used in different communities until the law was actually laid down in the entire Jewish nation. Everybody uses the same pisukim, Sephardim, Ashkenazim, Yemenites, Italians, everybody, that has differences throughout the year. When it comes to this, nobody has a difference. Everything's identical. Okay? Everybody's following the same path. Again, which goes great with the concept of Re'ut that we talked about now. Yeah. Okay. So now, ונאמר ויהי בישורון מלך ותאסף ראשי עם יחד שבטי ישראל. Okay? This is the beracha of Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, to Am Yisrael right before he passes away. Yeah, it's the very end. Okay, and so Hachamim פירשו שכאשר עם ישראל ישרים ומאוחדים כאגודה אחת ודבקים בתורה, אזי השם הוא מלכם. When the people come together and they're straight and united, that's when Borei Olam is the king. Like we said, it goes to the same concept of the teruah that we said. Everything has to be working together. Now we move into a section of what? Tehillim. All of a sudden Tehillim. Now if you notice Tehillim, it starts with Ubdebre Kochech or Debre Kochecha, depending on different concepts. Okay?
As opposed to just V'ne'emar? Instead
of just V'ne'emar, and opposed to, if you turn the page and you see the Nebi'im, it says V'al Yedei Abadecha HaNebi'im. Now all of a sudden over here, Ubdebre Kochech. And we'll see that for every section of the Tehillim. So what's going on over here? Why Ubdebre Kochech? And why over there V'al Yedei Abadecha HaNebi'im? So Ubdebre Kochech, because Tehillim has a higher Kedusha than the Nebi'im, because Tehillim was written Beruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh. Nebi'im, no. Nebi'im was Borei Olam, chose this person right here, and gave him a mission. He put this idea in his head, go do it.
That's a lower level than
That's a lower level than Ruach HaKodesh. Exactly.
Wow.
and therefore comes. Yeah. So we have Torah. We don't think at all. I'm sorry, we don't.
When you pray.
Exactly, when we pray, or here, how many times a day you go read Tehillim? Maybe. Do you think David HaMelech, Ruach HaKodesh, Mizmor Asaf, Ruach HaKodesh, what's going on? You don't think about it. This is Ruach HaKodesh, and if you want to say, some guy in some speech over there said that, it's a bunch of baloney. Here's the prayer set up for us on Yom Hadin by the Hachamim. Okay, the Gemara discusses it. This is Masoret. This is something that Moshe Sinai going back, and we know this is what it is. That we have a tradition that Tehillim Ruach HaKodesh. Okay,
because it's coming from the person.
It's coming because from, as Joey mentioned, to get Ruach HaKodesh, you have to attain that level. You have to build yourself up to get to that level that you actually get this.
So it's like an Ahaba versus type of worship.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Different level. Okay. Now you're going to see though, said in Torah, the Pesukim go in there's a progression in the order that they appear. Whereas with Tehillim, they do not.
It's not in order.
They jump. Okay? Right. So the first one. Very, very simple. There's nothing to explain, obviously, about it. Obviously, you could bring all different types of mifarshim, but it's simple. Okay, and then V'ne'emar Adonai Malach Yud Labesh Adonai Ozet Azar Aftikon Tebel Timot. Again, the concept of Melech is there, and Borei Olam all dressed up, in a majestic glory. It's there.
What's Aftikon? What's the end of it?
Oh, you want to explain the Tehillim now? What's that? You want to help me out over here? Aftikon Tebel Timot. I don't know. I don't have a literary meaning for it. Okay, Ebi? Anybody? No, it's the world. Okay. You establish the world, Baltimore, that it won't fall apart. Right. But how it all fits in is that it goes back to the concept of Bereshit, but how you establish the world. That's what I would imagine. Now, V'ne'emar, Se'u sha'arim ra'shecheh. That's where we get into a much loftier concept over here. Se'u sha'arim ra'shecheh. And now, instead of just one pasuk, we're dealing with a section of Pesukim. I believe it's 4 Pesukim if we look at it now. Se'u sha'arim ra'shecheh v'hinnasu petchei olam v'yavo melech hakavod. Mi ze melech hakavod? Adonai izuz v'chibor, Adonai gibor l'chama. Se'u sha'arim ra'shecheh v'su petchei olam v'yavo melech hakavod. Mi ze melech hakavod? Adonai sebaot u'melech hakavod se'ela. 4 Pesukim. Okay, so we have 4 Pesukim going on over here, but it's considered one section, one unit. Okay, this is, one. This is from Mizmor Kaf Dalet. So Mizmor Kaf Dalet. Yeah. Okay.
It's the Mizmor of the holiday, right? Of Rosh Hashanah too, right? I mean.
Well, we say it on the holiday.
On the holiday, we say it, I guess, before the Avenu.
Yeah. Okay, so back to Mizmor Kaf Dalet. So it's definitely important. The Musaf is extremely important, but he was talking about before the Alinu. So yes, Mizmor Kaf Dalet is referred to for various reasons as Mizmor of Parnasah, but that's a class, that in a different realm. We can't get into that, and there's a lot of issues about how Borei Olam's name is used in the Mizmor and how many times. It's not for what we're dealing with right now. So let's look at these Pesukim because they're extremely important. Se'u sha'arim ra'shechem. Okay? So, I want to look at this explanation over here. So, according to the Yehuda in the Gemara, okay, this entire Mizmor is considered as a Mizmor of Malkhouyot. The entire Mizmor. And you could even look at it as this one unit is one pasuk. So the entire Mizmor Kaf Dalet can be looked at one pasuk about Malkhouyot. Okay, according to Rabbi Yosef in the Gemara, no, the Mizmor has to be split into 3 pasukim. Either way, they're looking at it as Malkhouyot section. Even though as such, we later on we broke it down. I believe it's 10 Pesukim in the entire Mizmor, if I recall correctly. Maybe you want to count them in your head? How many Pesukim in this Mizmor? Here's turn to before Aleinu Shabbat at the end. Count how many Pesukim we got. Okay, so that's the first thing. It is 10. Yeah, that's what I remember. Is it 10? Yeah. Okay. So again, that number 10 that we talked about earlier comes into play over here. I know it's not 8s and 13s, but 10 is very important for Rosh Hashanah, for Musaf. Okay. So now we're going over here to Se'u Sha'arim Lashechem. Okay, lift up to the gates your heads. Okay, and it goes on. And the Gemara מתארת כיצד שלמה אמר מזמור זה בשעה שהכניס את ארון הברית לבית קודשי הקודשים. So this is the Mizmor, according to the Gemara, that Shlomo HaMelech said when he entered and brought he brought the Berit, the Aron, the Hechal, if you will, or the box of the Berit. In other words, the box was holding the Sefer to the Aseh, the Berot. Okay? He brought that into Kodesh HaKodashim. This is the Mizmor that he said. Okay? And the Mizmor opens up with the Malkhouyot. Okay? David is more Adonai ha'aretz umlo'ah. That's it. Adonai ha'aretz umlo'ah. The entire world is God's. So he's the owner. He's the king. Okay? He has full rights over the entire domain. Now, we continue. Right? That's really the next section. Okay, so we're going to the Nebi'im. So we looked at this, we got the idea of what's going on over here, and we need to study the Mizmor much more deeply. But I wasn't prepared for that. So now we're going to the Nebi'im. Over here we go, Pasuk from Yeshaya, to a Pasuk in Obadiah, to a Pasuk in Zechariah. Now, how familiar are we in general with any of these? We're not familiar, unfortunately.
We don't know.
And even Sefer Haftarah, I don't know how well we know it. At least for myself, I'm speaking. Okay? We don't generally know it. So, ועל ידי עבדיך הנביאים, כתוב לאמור, כה אמר אדוני מלך ישראל וגואלו, אדוני צבאות, אני ראשון, ואני אחרון, ובלעדי אין אלוהים. So what more melucha do you want than this? Okay? First it says, who said? Melech Israel. God, the king of it, okay, Vegoalo, and the redeemer of Israel, okay, and he's saying, I am first, I am last, there is no other. You can't get more than Meluchat in the entire pasuk over here, okay, not really.
But why would we declare that Hashem says it about himself?
That way,
we should declare that about him, right? Isn't that?
The Nabi is saying it. Yeshaya Nabi over here. Right, God said, God came to me in the Nebu'ah. Okay? I'm here. I'm representing God now. Okay? I'm representing God. I'm coming to you. Coming to the people. Don't think that I'm some Nabi Sheker. I'm a false prophet. Okay? God sent me. How do you know? Because this is what God said. Okay? It stands true. It's not something false. But okay, now obviously you're going to have different ways of looking at it. If you look at the Rashi, you look at Radak, you look at Misudat Siyom, Misudat David, you can look at the Ramban, you can look at so many different ways of looking at it. But if we open up with this, right, Mathil Torah, Mashtim ben Nabir, Bi Yosef Ahomer, Im Mashtim Torah, Yasa. וכתב רדבה שתנק מה הוא כרבי יהודה והוא חלוק על רבי יוסף לאורך כל הסוגיה ומעיקר הדין אין צורך להקפיד על חתימה בנביאים. So in the Gemara that we're even discussing, do we have to go to Nebi'im, not go to Nebi'im? What, what's the whole, till they built it up, okay? And then if you look at Genizah fragments, okay, they had a different order, like I said. Not everything was set up for what it took time for things to be arranged as Torah, Nebi'im, Ketubim, but as Torah, Tehillim, Nebi'im. And originally was Torah Nebi'im Ketuvim as we would normally think. Okay? وصار جاؤونيم مباشرة بهاي جاؤون هخريا لنهو بذكر بيهودا أخمس يمين بسوق عسري من التوراة. In the end, they kept arguing and they said, okay, at the very least, if you can't come to an agreement, at the very least, we have to end with a pasuk from the Torah. As we said, after these three pasukim from the Nebi'im, we will end with a pasuk
from the Torah. Okay, and then we go on. Yeah, but he keeps going. Wait. Okay, we'll talk about the Geula. Over here, this is the Atid that Rabbi Shalush mentioned to us. All right, Ba'harit HaYamim, and that at that point, the entire nations of the world, all the people of the world, will finally wake up, finally realize, who's the ruler, who's in charge, what direction we're supposed to take, what direction the world's supposed to take. That's part of the Geula. All of a sudden, you're going to see everything change. You're not going to see this nonsense and stupidity that has been going on for thousands of years. So that's part of the Geula over here, and that's why he's saying, "Ani Rishon v'ani Aharon." I'm the one who started, and I'm the one who's going to end it. When the day comes, Ba'adai en Elohim, everybody's going to proclaim, "This is God. This is God." Who's God? Melech Yisrael, Goel Shel Yisrael, like the pasuk said. Okay. Now we come to Obadiah Nabi. Obadiah is very interesting. Just entire Nabi, one perik. ונאמר, ועלו מושיעים בהר ציון לשפוט את הרעיסה והייתה לאדוני המלוכה. Again, this pasuk is talking about the Geula, about the future redemption at Aharit HaYamim. Okay? And that's when all the nations of the world are going to realize the kingdom is all God's. Okay? And everybody's going to say, Adonai Melech, Adonai Melech, Adonai Melech, Adonai Va'ed, okay, which is referenced to in the previous pasuk when we say, Ani Rishon v'ani Aharon v'adai en Elohim, because that's really Adonai Melech, Adonai Melech, Adonai Melech, Adonai Va'ed. Okay? Again?
Yep.
Exactly. Say, it starts with present. Right.
Present, future.
Right. So it's all there again. The concept comes back. And then next pasuk from Zechariah, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. We know the pasuk very well. The same concept is there. Okay, that this has to do with the Malkhouyot. Okay, והיה אדוני למלך, God will be the king. And then we bring it back home, like we said, תורתך אדוני אלוהינו קדומו שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. This is the culmination, the whole concept of Borei Olam being king and us accepting him and his yoke upon us as king. And then we conclude after the Pesukim with a paragraph that we would say, so we could go right into the Beracha. And if you look at that paragraph, okay, we're hinting to a lot of the concepts that we mentioned in the Pesukim. Now that we've prepared ourselves by looking at our Torah Shebichtab, okay, Torah and Tehillim and Nebi'im, we touched everything because that comes from Torah, Nebi'im, and Ketubim, technically. Now we could focus now on the prayer. So we have Limud Torah, if you will, within the prayer of Yom Hadin to prepare us of how to pray and how to make the Beracha. Right? Eloheinu Eloi Avotenu Meloch al Kol Ha'olam. We're asking Borei Olam, rule over the entire world. Okay? Lift us up over all the land. Okay? Appear in all your glory upon all the people of the world. And every being and everything that happens will all know that you're there, that you're the one that's guiding it, directing it, causing it to function. Every creation will know that you're its creator, and everything that has any sort of breath of life in it is going to say what? Adonai Elohei Yisrael Malach u'Malkhuto b'kol mashada. Okay, God, the God of Yisrael, is king, and his king is divine over everything. And then like we say in all the Amidahs of Shabbat and holiday, etc., and we end with the Beracha. So it really makes a lot more sense now. I think, at least for Malkhouyot, we're somewhat more prepared than we've been in the past. Correct? Any questions about Malkhouyot, or we're good?
Is there a connection between us having 10 Tikiyot and 10 Pesukim?
There possibly is. But 10 definitely seems like a very, very pertinent number. Okay? Yeah, so we could tell you, I said, we could tell you bring them number 10 left and right. We could bring you numbers, but I think they used the number 10 more over here because it helped connect the ideas better and so you to remember. And so you wouldn't forget to do something. Everything you have to connect. Did I miss something? It's 10. They chose that number, and it seemed to work well with all three sections. Okay? And therefore they went with it. I don't think that
it's a magic game of 10 again Mekubalim could tell you yes has to do with 10 Sefirot. Okay, again 10 will fit into that also. So whether the Hachamim knew Kabbalah, didn't know Kabbalah, that's the argument. But so how you want to look at it today, if you're a Mekubal or you're a Pashtan, either way you could connect with what the Hachamim have set up for us. It's gorgeous. It really is. It's really beautiful. Nobody can argue against it. Okay? Hayom Harat Olam is something that we repeat it after either section. Now, the only thing I want to mention about it quickly, Hayom Harat Olam. Okay? So what's this Hayom Harat Olam? We say the world today was Harat. Was it given birth to? Or it's impregnated today? Or it's pregnant on this day? What exactly is going on over here? So the way our Hachamim for the most part understand it, and there are differences of opinion and different outlooks and different approaches, okay, and there's a lot written about it, but the way we look at it is this is the day that, now it means technically this is the day that the world became pregnant, but it means though, why is it this day? Because this is the day that the pregnancy came to its completion, meaning that the world was born. And why was the world born on this day? Because this is the day that Adam Harishon was created. So technically, tomorrow morning, okay, or right now, but we'll say tomorrow morning, the 25th day of the month of Elul would be the first day of creation. Okay? And you count 25, 26, 28, until you get to the 6th day of creation, which is the day of Adam Harishon, and that is our first day of Rosh Hashanah. That's Monday. Okay? And that's Hayom Harat Olam. Because once man is in the world, man is in the picture, now all of a sudden, that's where we start praying, we start thinking, we start activating the world, we have the reason that the Torah is connected to us, and we're connected to the Torah. Everything happens from that point on. So that's Hayom Harat Olam. So we're getting up there, Borei Olam, thank you, you put us on the earth, we know we have a lot to live up to, we know that this is the day you put, the first man here, Adam Harishon, we're connected to it, and we know that we have something to do over here. Hayom Harat Olam, and that's part of why we sing it. That's what we mention. First thing we mention is Im Kebanim. If we're like sons to Adam Harishon, we all stem from Adam Harishon. Everybody, I don't care what you want to tell me about a human being, everybody comes from the same place. Okay? Now, Im Ka'abadim, yes, later on we became servants to you, Borei Olam. Okay? And we continue. Im Kebanim, Im Ka'abadim, back and forth. Again, this is another class by itself, Hayom Harat Olam.
Why is it repeating it?
After each section?
Yeah.
Or if these lines itself?
No, the line itself.
So first time we said it's good. It's a piece of poetry. This is one of our earliest pieces of poetry that we have. It's the early, very, very early song, if you will. Okay, and that's why we sing it as well, because it originally was established as a song. So we're making a general statement. Hayom Harat Olam, Hayom Ya'amid Mishpat. This is the day of Mishpat, Yom Haddin. Kol Yisrael Olam. All the people of the world, Im Kibanim, Im Kabanim. Makes no difference whether they're your sons or whether they're your slaves. Makes no difference.
How you terminology,
right.
Terminology you doesn't matter.
Doesn't make a difference. Either way,
like
you're being judged.
Right.
Im Kibanim, Im Kibanim. If we are like sons, have mercy upon us. The same way my father will. Im Kabanim, the same way. Then not have mercy on us. Rather, our eyes are focused upon you. Please, we're pleading you. Please, Okay, and the end, Ashtahun, until you have mercy and compassion on us. V'tosi la'or, bring out our judgment, kadosh, in a holy, favorable way. It's beautiful, and that's what we say again after each one of the shofar, each sections. So technically, the section of Malkhouyot ends here. So after the shofar, we made the beracha, we blow shofar, we say Hayom Harat Olam, then the section ends. Then you go to the next section. Okay? Beautiful. Do we have time?
You do that, then you do the Hayom Harat.
Exactly, and then the Shofarot, and then Hayom Harat, and then we're done. Right? So if you finish that, that's it. Then the whole thing is section to section, and then what do you call? Then you go to that's it. Then you go to regular Amidah after that. What do they say? Okay, you go back to the Avodah.
part of the Amidah that we always have.
Gorgeous.
All right, I think it's time to go upstairs now.
We need another.
We need
So,
no, we didn't.
gorgeous.
I know,
We need another year, actually.
yeah,
Great
but
stuff.
but there's so we still have Zikhronot, you have Shofarot. All right, we didn't have time, but we got an idea. I think we got of what's going on.
Bye, bye, bye.